Hello, welcome back to Together We Feel, the panel show here where I gather women here on our YouTube channel each Monday to talk about the things that both support us and can bump up into our ability to live out what I call a feel-fueled life, finding empowerment, embracing layers, the ability to show up for yourself every day, healthy and well, so you can also show up for your people healthy and well. But this can be complex. We all know it's not easy. Life likes to life. And so today we're going to talk about come as you are. Come as you are is an open book. How are you today? How are you this minute? How are you this week? You know, however it is that you're showing up in this moment with all of the welcomeness and love and complexity and joy that can bring with it. So I've got a group of people with me today that haven't been together before in a panel. Two of the three have been on a panel. We have one newcomer. We are covering the globe. We've got the West Coast, the Midwest, the East Coast of the United States, and then we've also got Europe. So we are covering many time zones and many times of day here on this Monday. Welcome, my friends. I've got Kira Hartley Klinger, Laura Tolosi, and Yasna, say your last name for me. I do not want to.
Kalujerovic. It's so complex.
No, but I drives me crazy when people don't. I'm like, if you can't get somebody's name right, then have them say it right. Because, and I think I'm more sensitive about that because my last name's Crook, and nobody wants me to be Melissa Crook. They all want me to be Melissa Cook. They cannot comprehend that someone would have this last name. So I think it's less about they can't say it, more about it's like an inner denial. Whereas so I'm like very passionate about people's names being said correctly. So thank you, Yasna, for helping me with that. Today on this Come As You Are, I'm going to let these women share why it is they wanted to be here today, what is on their hearts today to share. I'll kick it off. This one's a little more wide open for me. It's been raining here in Central California. We don't get a lot of rain. So I'm the PNW girl, Pacific Northwest girl. So when we do, I kind of huddle in with my blanket and light my candles and kind of enjoy the fact that it actually kind of sort of feels like fall here today, which we don't always get. I love the sunshine we get, don't get me wrong, but I'm kind of enjoying this, kind of cuddled in this weekend, watched some football, watched some movies, had my candles lit. I think the thing that's on my mind this morning, and this is a tricky one. I don't think any of them will watch because they're book readers more than they are watchers of podcasts. But I have a complexity in my broader family unit where a family member got engaged this weekend and nobody really knows what to do with it because it's been bumpy. And so are we excited about this? Are we not? Kind of waiting for signals from the parents because in all fairness, I've never met the other half of this couple. I've only know the one side that's part of my family circle. And all the information I've gotten about this relationship has been via my best friend who's like my sister, who's like family. And it's she and my adopted mom are my source. And so in all fairness, I've not seen this couple in context of each other. So I'm getting a lot of family, like the announcement came out and I was like, we had just had a conversation a few weeks ago about it. It was kind of a funny, not funny story. And I'm like, okay. Two of my three daughters were with grandma this weekend when the news came out. I'm dying to hear what they have to say about visit with her and all of this. So my thing is like, gosh, I think my approach is going to be, okay, this has happened. I sent a message to my person right away. I'm like, hey, just saw this. How are we feeling? And I got some nice pictures, a message about the weekend. There will be a phone call. I promise you this week. Like, okay, so are we okay with this? Like, I need more. I'm going to use you as my guide. I really, really want to not be judgy here. But I need more. I need more information. Please help me. So it's like, so what do we do with those situations that come up in our family or our broader extended family? And it's these kinds of things, and it's like, you're going to be invited. You got to go. How do you get okay with it, or when you don't know what's to it? So that's it feels like a Netflix movie. Oh my gosh. Yes, exactly. Yes, that's exactly it. Yes, that's exactly it. All right, Kira, help me out here. Bail me out of this. What brings you here today?
As far as the unexpected announcement, you're probably barking up the wrong tree, because I've always been the unexpected announcement. So, I'm the one that came at marriage the first time around because I was pregnant at 17. And, everybody knew that we were out of our minds and immature. I had no idea what we were doing. And so then after getting divorced after 23 years, and then 4 years later deciding to get married again, it was the same thing. Everybody's like, oh, so I'm on the receiving end. So luckily, the core family people continued to show up, but that's your interesting day. My day, like you said, I've been up since 4:30, so I've already gotten 22 orders out and fed the animals, and I just had the ever so delightful doctor's appointment, and then I treated myself to the thrift store afterwards. And I forget what the technical term for it is. I'm like the 2% of people and everything, good, bad, whatever. If it is in the fine print, it's me. So I've been going through these series of tests, and this latest one was a new one for me, but I basically had to have my bladder scoped. And when they first told me that they were going to do this, I'm like, oh, you're going to put me out, right? They're like, oh, no, it's quick. It's easy. It's like a pap test. Nobody likes it, but it's fast. I'm like, okay. So I get in there, and there's this like 2 foot long, very large diameter thing sitting on the table. And the nurse comes in. I'm like, okay, that's not going in. And she goes, oh, no, that's the cover. So I know, right? Okay, Jack, I have a loud dog. Right. So it's like, okay. So then the doctor comes in, who could be my son. Like so young. And I'm just like, oh man, it's just getting worse. That's not where my brain started today, but I've known this appointment was coming up, so it's kind of been in the back of my head. I'm really super glad it's over with. But I don't know. Some of the stuff they put us through is barbaric, I swear. It's just,
That is just another chapter of women's health where I'm just like, geez Louise. And then, insult to injury. Read the room. You don't have one woman in the office, in the building, somewhere that can make.
She came in with him. She did come in when the moment was magical, but I was just like, oh man, you're like as old as my kid, dude. Do you know what you're doing? Are you sure?
Have you ever done this before on anybody that has a beating heart?
God. And the whole time I was like, I'm sorry. Just get it over with.
Yeah. Apologizing.
Yeah.
Apologizing doesn't take the discomfort away. So how long did it last?
It was over in like a minute, which was great.
Okay.
And he basically was full of dialogue the whole time, telling me this, that, and the other, and whatever. So over with, glad, move on. Can I go home now? This is what I was looking forward to. This was my reward. So we've got this great little Christian thrift store that is in the same town as everything I do. And everything is dirt cheap. And because I'm into buying and selling, I go there every chance I get because I want to see what people have donated, dropped off, whatever. So that was my reward. But then I was like frantically, oh crap, I gotta get home. And so I think I got home at like 13 minutes before the interview. So I was going through my stuff and I was talking to you.
Okay. So that is a heck of a way to start a Monday.
I know, right?
Honestly, the worst part's over. Like he got that out of the shoe.
It's got to get better from here on out.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right. Okay, Laura, what have you got?
Well, I was excited because I haven't been here in a long time, to be
Yeah.
honest. So I was looking forward to this just out of curiosity, like just to kind of catch up and see what was going on. And Melissa, you can weave everything beautiful no matter who you have. You have this great, ability to create this beautiful tapestry. So I came in, I'm like, whatever we're going to talk about, let's just bring it. But so we've got a lot going on. And so, to your point, Melissa, I'm like Switzerland. I'm like, oh, give them a chance. Like my husband, he's like, you always say the opposite of whatever. And I'm like, well, you don't know what's going on, and let's just see for ourselves. And so I'm always like, take a step back just to give people that opportunity, and just be an observer and just and see how things are without kind of going in with. Of course, you want to know, like, is it good or is it bad? But I'm always like, well, maybe everything is okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, where I'm coming from. And Kira, I kind of basically I actually have a doctor's appointment coming up this week myself, believe it or not. Because I just don't really go as much as I just have not. I'm the opposite now. Like I won't put myself through anything like that. That's just, so I'm like the other thing, like you're a kid, especially when you see them, when you go to these appointments and you see that, in really any area of life, when you like, the kids they're not kids, but they're adults, but they look like your kids. And you're like, oh, they're so cute. And I'm like, oh my God. Like thinking them like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm at this point where I'm like, looking at them like, oh, such a cute kid. Like,
well, no, we're the elders. It's not fair.
I know.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's funny. So I hear you with that too. I have an appointment with a woman actually. So that, that's something honestly that I do make sure that I try to, if all possible, to always go for a woman. That's just my comfort level, for any type of, some type of appointments, whatever it's for, you don't have that choice. Yeah. But that's just my comfort level. And, I want to, for certain things, I have to see a woman, and I'm going to make my effort to see that woman. So, that's where I am in my age too, right? Like now I'm like, that's how I am.
I know, it's so true. I have, my oldest daughter, and even my middle daughter's getting to this point, but my oldest daughter for sure, she actually has friends that have come out of medical school and are practicing doctors now. And to me, they're just like, they kind of lock in at an age for you where you're just like, oh, you're just still that middle blocker on my daughter's volleyball team. And now you're going to save my life. Oh, all right, here we go. It's such a bizarre thing. And thank you, Laura. I think that you made such a good point. It's funny because I will tell you, because my husband's been so funny. He's very protective of these boys that are part of this family group. This one's the youngest that just got engaged. And he's like, are we okay with this? Like this, I'm concerned. And I'm like, okay. So to give you a different context, let me take you back. We had people at our wedding betting we wouldn't make it through the first year.
Oh, no.
We had people betting and making comments. And here we are 32 and a half years later, we've outlasted half of them. Half of them, have been, had theirs fall apart. And so I am of the mind this morning, and I think I'm gonna have to remind Brady of this when he gets home. It's like, remember how many people bet against us? Yeah. And that might bring him back, but who knows? He's he's very funny because he's very, very open. He's very he's usually the one saying to me, all right, come on, back off, sister. We gotta but when but once he commits to something and he's got something in his head, it's really hard to pull him off of it. So this one will be interesting. I don't know, but that's a really, the Switzerland approach. And honestly, and I can go in and do that for a weekend for sure. The kind of relationship I have is I'm going to hear about it from the mom, however she's feeling about all the things. Sure.
And rightfully so, right?
Yes,
Rightfully
yes.
so.
I am the safe place to land on that. And also, not allowing it to skew me. So always in family dynamics, man. You just never know. They're wild. All right, Yasna, you've had a lot to take in as we both talk here. How are you doing? How's your day been in Serbia?
I'm okay. We still have lovely weather, so I was walking a little bit, using my lunch break to walk because I want to use this time. Normally, end of November, it's rainy and a lot of wind, but we are lucky this year, so
Yay,
soon
enjoy
it
the
will be
beautiful fall.
spoiled. They told us soon weather will get worse, so now we are still catching our chance to use it properly.
Okay.
And regarding your announcement, I think if it is already an announcement, you should be supportive.
Yeah, it's there. It's happening.
You can't stop it anymore. So
No.
what's the use of not cheering for them?
Yeah. No, that's very good. I know. I think that sometimes we're so interested in just stepping back. And it's a good reminder for me to use all the information I use on myself already in the framework. Healthy boundaries means this is none of your business.
Exactly. And now if one mom is against this choice, then if you ask her for opinion, you will all be supporting her instead of
Exactly. I can show up in multiple ways and multiple layers for all the people involved. It's always interesting. Yasna, this is your first time here. So why don't you share with our listeners a little more about yourself and how you and I met?
Yes, we met because I wrote a book.
Yes.
I'm an IT person from Belgrade, Serbia. And I wrote a book that was my diary, actually. Initially, it was my diary. Later, I decided I would like to publish it. Because I've been through some IVFs. I had infertility when I was married. And then during my divorce, one frozen embryo was still there, frozen. And I had to make the decision what to do with it because I was not okay to have it with my ex-husband. And I was also not okay with leaving it like that. So it was really hard. And a lot of other stuff had something to do with that decision because we would all like to be independent and equal to men. But when it comes to pregnancy, you have limitations, how much you can work, if you can earn your money during pregnancy. And if you are divorced, maybe you would like some new relationship, having a child with your ex. Does that fit in? So it's all in the book, and this is how we met.
Yes. Yeah. And I appreciate so much Yasna's willingness to go there to write this book, to tell the story of women of so many areas. And I wanted you to bring it up because we have a lot of different medical things happening today that are just everyday things. Kira shared about her, appointment this morning. Laura's got an upcoming appointment. I have blood work done every 6 months to make sure that my bioidentical HRT cream that I use is at the right level. And then they test other things too. And I'm at that age where it's like, there's something's always just a little bit off. Nothing that says there's anything wrong with me. But I think part of that midlife and getting everything in balance is I was like, oh my gosh, can I just go to one where everything's just green, no red? And it's just like always just barely over. So they're like, you need more water here. You need less of this here. You need to get your cortisol levels. I'm like, and it's always like that one little thing, nothing life-threatening. I'm very fortunate. I've got it dialed in. I've got a good, practitioner who's helping me watch it. But it's just all of a sudden I was used to for years. Everything came back good and green all the time. Everything was healthy and no questions until I hit like age 45 when my, that was really when the perimenopause kicked in for me. But all these cycles and, everything, just a roller coaster all the time. I'm trying to figure out how to navigate this new season with my body. And so got some of the results back and I was just like, there's just a couple things. And I kind of know like, oh, I was pretty dehydrated that day, or, oh, this might be happening. But then I have a lot of, I deal with a good good old partner that's letting me, fires off missiles in anxiety land whenever like certain things come up. And so trying to keeping it in check and remembering to tell myself what's true about this, what's not true about this, not letting my thoughts run away with me, reminding me that all my thoughts aren't truth. So all these little things that come up for us in these scenarios. But I think, back to, just having safe places to talk about these things that happen in our lives, in our bodies, with new seasons that come up, and all of us in our various ways being willing to talk about it, because it's in talking about it that we invite other women into the conversation, that we let them know you're not alone in this. There's a safe place to land. You get to ask questions. You get to have doubts. You get to not be gaslit. You get to let people know that you're having this experience. And sometimes you don't have all the answers, but it really opens the door to that. We've also got a person who's listening this morning who's asked, how do you guys feel about the concept of strife? And so I think strife is a wide open conversation. There could be strife in a lot of different things. I think for strife, I go back to, what are your values? What do you care about? What do you hope to accomplish as you work through this strife? Strife's going to come up in our lives. Our life is going to have, we're going to have disagreements. I just shared a potential strife of my own this morning. But it's keeping an open mind, being a good listener, and when you listen and being willing to communicate about it, not being passive aggressive, and being willing to have the hard conversations when the strife comes up, so it doesn't become bigger than it has to be. And also understanding the importance of surrounding yourself with people that want what's healthy for you, and being and knowing where it is you need to draw the line in terms of what you will and won't allow in your space, but always being willing to communicate your healthy boundaries, your expectations, your hopes, and not going back to that thoughts thing, making sure you have all the information, which is where the listening comes in, and asking questions, not listening to answer, but listening to learn, to see how can we work through this strife and come out in a place that's respectful and honoring to each other. So that would be my answer to that. Does anyone else want to share about that?
Just something that popped up about strife. I was reading a book, The Four Agreements, and one of the agreements is to don't take things personally. So my approach is, you can go into that conversation or whatever happens, and just like you said, Melissa, with your boundaries, whatever, but still not to take things in a personal way, like kind of like being the observer. Okay, this is what's going on, and be almost like the outsider looking in of the situation, because then you can respond very differently if you're not taking it personally. So, that's just something that I've really just started to really think about and hold for myself recently, because I think it's, for me, it has been amazing just to have my own changes and different approach to things is, even if like someone says something about your work or whatever, I'm like, okay, how can I look at this in a productive way? Yeah. So, and not take it personally, like, okay, no big deal. I'm just going to redirect or do something different. So that's kind of how, I would approach it, is just like, let's just not take it personally first off. And we're going to have that in our lives. That's life, right? Like you said, that's lifing. Go through those feelings, go through those emotions, feel them, and then, but then we don't want them to get stuck, right? We want to feel them and then process them, and then if we don't take them personally, they're not going to get stuck, right?
Yes, because we know it's not about us. And also, I love what you said, and it's part of my talking points on the podcast, is that mental, emotional, physical health is all connected. Name the emotions that are involved, allow them to have space. You might need to do this before you go into the conversation about the strife, so to make sure, or you might have to stop if you're having a conversation about the strife that's coming up. If strife is like the elephant in the room, if you don't everyone feels the tension. Everyone has it affect their nervous system. So why not, that's, I think, the importance in talking about it, and also knowing that, going back to what Laura said, not taking it personally, because different people have different abilities to have these conversations. So also being willing to step away and be like, I feel like things are getting a little heated here. Let's step away and revisit this tomorrow. Or is there a common ground we can come to where maybe we just agree to disagree and move forward from there? Yeah. But not taking it personally is such a huge thing. And I used to take everything personally. So I have been able to mostly shift that and be able to separate what's personal, because I think it's so easy for us to judge ourselves and other people by our decisions that are made. And it's like, that was just a decision. That doesn't make me bad, you bad. That was a decision. It might have been a poor decision or a hard decision or a sad decision, but it doesn't, that one decision doesn't define my whole being.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, another thing that you get into a situation sometimes where you're in a room with people that you can't necessarily talk to or reason with or talk it out. I've had overbearing people in my life for many, many, many years. And at some point it became a survival tactic to just choose to not engage. You have to reach the point sometimes where you put up that wall and you realize that engaging is only continuing something that does not have a resolution. And it is damaging. It is so debilitating. Mm-hmm. Ironically, with certain people in that situation that you choose to not engage with, by making that decision, you effectively take away their power. Yeah. So that is something that I have really had to come back to. It's gotten much better. I've surrounded myself with the right people. You mentioned that. It's hugely important. And I've had to say goodbye to a lot of wrong people. But when I learned that tactic of choosing not to engage, it really helped. It took away their power. It gave the power to me. And I was able to walk away, and I was able to not have that mental anguish from it. And, the guilt and the questioning and, am I wrong? And just the self-doubt. And sometimes it's not about who's right, who's wrong. Sometimes it's about this conversation isn't worth having.
Yeah. If there's no possibility, because sometimes insecurity can bring about trolling and bullying, and other times insecurity can just bring out other people when they're unhappy with their own lives. If they can create angst in other places, it can make theirs not feel so bad to them, rather than just dealing with it head on. And so there's so many different possible recipes for strife to come up with. And so being very specific, taking a look at the one at hand and what is the end hope here? Mm-hmm. Where can we get to, and what's possible? And then also assessing how you approach it that way as well. Yeah, really. Yeah. Thank you for that, Kira. How about you, Jasna?
It depends who I'm talking to, right? Because if it's someone close that we respect each other, we have a connection, then of course I would always try to understand this person, ask what do you really mean by telling this or that. And also I would use sentences like, I feel this is not correct because of that. What do you think about it? So I would try to find some common ground, some mutual understanding. But sometimes you just deal with people that want to manipulate you in some way. So in that situation, trying too much, I think, is not a good recipe at all. It should be more like defining your boundaries and saying your definitions. I go this way, I don't allow that. I don't know. You don't have to be rude in that. You can do it in a more subtle and gentle way, but you have to try to stay calm, to stay cool, to defend your boundaries. Because if you feel threatened or something, it happens. It happens at work. It happens in bad relationships. It happens from time to time, not maybe often, but we mature and then we learn how to deal with that too.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because sometimes, I mean, let me tell you, I've had more than one occasion in my life that I've had to go back and be like, I don't love the way I dealt with that. Can we start over again? But other times things will catch you off guard that you're not ready for. And it's okay for you to step away from that to give yourself time to collect yourself. You don't have to engage in the moment. I tend to be a very emotional responder. And I can tell you that when I respond emotionally, 99% of the time, I'm like, ugh, if I would have just like, there's a moment to pause. There's a power in the pause. Is a really good when you get like in a moment where you weren't ready for it and you're trying to think of a way to respond to it. Do stop and think. And there's things when, I get especially feisty when I feel like people are coming for my people. They're coming for me or coming for my people. Mama Bear goes into high gear like that and so also too, I've having to really like, and my husband's very good at like grabbing my arm and being like, breathe. I mean, we had a situation on Friday. We were in a conversation at a restaurant with somebody and he just like nudged my leg. He's like, all right, they got the point, baby. It's time to back down. So yeah, it was, so it's just each situation, but always, I think if the takeaway from this and our person is answered, thank you kindly for taking the time to answer my question. So awesome that each of you took so much time to answer my query. So you are welcome. Thanks for chiming in. And that's something you can do here, folks, especially on any of our, whether it's a predetermined topic or a come as you are, you can bring your questions. We'd love to talk to you about it. We all have different lived experiences. And we all have our ways that we have learned over time to engage in these situations. But my takeaway is going to be power in the pause and just like, okay, what is the healthiest outcome that can happen here? And how do I get to that? And that could, healthiest outcome, might require some hard decisions. It might just be clarifying some misunderstandings. Because it goes back to so many times we want people to read our minds, to know. Can't they tell by the way I'm stomping around the house and slamming doors and, breathing heavily and heavy sighing that something's not working here? No, they don't. Trust me, I tried it for many years. It's not productive. So, communication is kind.
But sometimes you communicate and useless.
Absolutely. And that's, I think that could be a clue. Like, all right, that's a healthy boundary in this space. I gave it my best effort. Because that's the other thing that's important too. We can't make people do something they don't want to do. It's not our responsibility to, and we can't make them. So it's also, sometimes you step away and be like, I gave it my best effort. I'm here if you decide you want to continue to engage in a way that's healthy and honoring to both of us, I'm here. Otherwise, I'm going to walk away and we're just going to close this chapter and move forward from here, and not engage. And then it's, it can be tricky because, again, and that's why it's so important that we do the work on ourselves first, because when you're unhealthy with yourself, it's going to be more likely you're going to be unhealthy with your interactions. And so, when I work with women, so many times it's, they're kind of like, I'm like, this is a framework that's here to support you and help you, but you're going to have to take accountability for your part in this. You're going to have to be active and engaged with this in a ways that might require you to ask some difficult questions of yourself or make some shifts that you haven't made before. This isn't a magic potion, but I promise you, if you engage with it and are willing to go all in with, and as you do this, and you're going to be so much healthier on the other side. And you're going to look back and be really proud of what you already had in yourself. I was just reminding you it was there, but we have to be willing to be engaged, and we can't. I have learned this the hard way. I have banged my head against the wall for years trying to get other people to come around to what, in my experience, I know is healthier, it doesn't work. It's just exhausting. And so knowing, like, knowing when it's just time to step away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting, isn't it? All right. Well, that was fun. We haven't got a chance to do that before. So thank you so much for allowing us to say. Her last comment was, I usually shy away from talking in bigger groups like this, but you guys seem really mindful and considerate. So it feels like a safe space to speak. That warms my heart. Laura's been with me for a couple of years now. So Laura knows how much that means to me.
Beautiful.
That's my whole hope. That is my whole hope. This is a safe place for us to land and support each other and listen to each other, and also just own, like, we don't have all the answers, but we're going to show up every day and welcome you as you are, and see how we can support you in that. So yes, warms my heart so much. All right. I'm going to go. Yeah. Anybody want to add to that?
That was my best 2 cents from living with narcissism for a really long time. So.
Yeah. You bring up something important there. And I've had several conversations over my time on this podcast with women who are in very dicey relationship, or come out of very dicey relationship situations, abuse and narcissism, mental, emotional, physical, sexual abuse, and what that does and how that impacts the ability to have a healthy conversation or not. And that is, now that's not the same as everyday life stuff. You know, everyday life stuff's a little more, but sometimes everyday life stuff in a weird way can throw you more, because you're used to things kind of rolling along a certain way, and you haven't, like, oh, what do I do with this? And so, yeah, that's where the power of the pause. Also, an important rule is giving yourself 24 hours before you respond can be really helpful. Like, power in the pause is like, this really got me going emotionally. I need to give myself time to settle, to sleep on it, to journal about it, to just let everything, to kind of have time to take it in before I, respond. So the 24-hour rule can be helpful there too.
And what's the end game? What's the end result? Like, if you disengage, you don't put energy in there, like, what's the end result? Like, do you want to continue? Yeah. Where is it going to get, so those are, when you do pause, you can actually be like, well, what's the end game here? What's the end result? Mm-hmm. So you can start thinking about those things in a different way as well.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to continue to, have the strife or whatever, or, just don't put the energy there anymore. Right.
Yeah. All right, ladies. Well, we are, I can't believe this. We are 10 days out here in the United States from the holiday season. Mm-hmm. Our version of it officially kicking off. We have Thanksgiving here in the US, which is its own complicated holiday, but that's for a different day. But that's kicking off, and that means a lot of gatherings are happening. And my panel last week was about, how do we get ready for the holidays? I run into so many women that are like, oh, the holidays, they're exhausting. And I'm like, whoa, that makes me so sad. Yeah. I love the holidays. And so we talked a lot about just having a plan going into whatever it is, whether it's the kind of gift giving that's going to happen, how we're going to prepare the meals, how much time we're going to spend in that said place. Are we going to host? Are we going to invite racist Uncle Joe? Or does he get a script? If you come in the door, this is what you get to and not get to say. I mean, there's all those things that come up in our conversations as we get ready for the holidays over the next 6 weeks. So, so it was a good conversation, but as we're in mid-November and we're all in the Northern Hemisphere. So we're all rolling into various parts of late fall and into winter. So as we hit mid-November, as we reflect on 2025 before we get full swing into the holiday season, what's the thing that really is on the forefront of your mind at this point? I think that's kind of how we'll wrap this up today. And Yasna, we'll start with you. What's at the forefront of your mind? I know. We're going to reverse the order.
I was fired recently.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Because I'm a freelancer. I have my own company, but I only have one client, and I'm 5 days a week with them.
Okay.
And they fired me. They have some, they're cutting costs. So they're first firing freelancers, which is me.
Sure.
So they extended my contract until end of January. And after end of January, I will have a small break. For sure, I will not start immediately with some other clients. And I will try to write another book. So this is where I am right now in my life. So I'm like... trying to use this time between clients to do something for myself and for my readers.
I love that. I love
Laura.
that so much. We did lose Laura.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she had to jump. I don't have a message from her. I don't know if she got cut off or she had to jump off. Okay. Wow. Well, good. I love that I love your mindset around it though.
Mm-hmm. And I can't wait because this is like this first book, it just happened because of some situation in my private life. And I was thinking really long whether to publish it or not. And now I already have some small crew around me asking about the second book and what happened later. And then maybe I will write it. We will see.
Wow.
So it will be interesting for me to see how things will turn out.
Yeah.
If they will extend the agreement again or not, or if I will write again, if it will be successful. Let's see. At some point, I will have to work for sure.
Yeah. So 2026 is a little bit of an adventure.
It's always an adventure with me, but this time it really was.
Oh my goodness. That's so true. Okay, I'm going to add Laura back. Laura's bouncing in. Laura, we're going to let you go.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening. I apologize.
That's okay.
It's Monday.
It is your happy Monday. Here we go. How are you feeling at this point in 2025 as we get launched into 2026?
I'm feeling excited, to be completely honest. I mean, like right now in the present moment, it's really balancing, career and the family gatherings, because I do host Thanksgiving. I love hosting Thanksgiving. But also, as a business woman, it's Black Friday. So getting ready for that. And I'm excited. I am. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So that's kind of really just to see how Black Friday goes, and then just kind of doing both. My daughter's coming home from college, so there's a lot of good things. So I'm feeling excited. What's going to happen? Curious how things are going to turn out.
Yeah.
I do the same hosting every year.
Okay.
Same family. So that's always fun. So it's always something. And we've been getting now the littles are coming, right? So now we have 2 littles added to the mix here. So that's fun, changes things. So that's kind of fun. So I'm excited. I'm really excited and just kind of, curious how the rest of the year plays out,
Yeah. Good. Kira, how about you?
Okay. To Laura's comment, the littles are the best. I have 8 that I share with my husband, and we do camp every year on the farm for a week, and all 8 kids at once, and it's just the best time. They all live at least 2 hours away, so I grab my 3 from Indiana any chance I get. If I find out they're coming for the weekend, I clear my schedule. But this has been 2025 has been a huge roller coaster for me. It's like I'm trying to keep moving ahead with my business and the podcasting and the books and whatnot. But my dad has been sick. My dad was diagnosed with small cell lung cancer a year ago, September. So we didn't really know. I mean, we knew nothing. I'm in Ohio and he is in Maine. And I think I've gone to Maine. I'm getting ready to go my 6th time for 2025. Wow. I'm flying on Thanksgiving. So everybody
Whoa.
say a little prayer for me that workers show up. Because,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, we just got some really encouraging news. He's had a lot of setbacks, and he's holding his own, you know. So I'm feeling blessed right now, and I'm feeling a lot of gratitude that I'm at a point in my life where I can just drop everything and go if I want to go. You know, I mean, it wasn't so long ago that that would have been unheard of. I would have not financially been able to afford it. I would have not been able to take the time off of work. So yeah, I mean, I'm feeling really blessed this year, you know, and it's okay that things are moving slowly. I want them to go as slowly as they possibly can right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I know those moments, like being present. I've learned a lot this fall, the power of presence. We've taken some planned trips and some also surprise trips and gotten some time with family that we both knew about ahead of time. And then we didn't know about till the last minute. And it was that willingness for us to like shift and like, no, this kind of moment isn't going to come around all the time. So we're going to take advantage of it. We're going to put some, you know, we're going to take some time away from work and we're going to go do this thing. Because this whole idea of being a good time, well, we all know that that's a fallacy. There's always going to be something. So we've been really present this fall, I think, which I've really enjoyed. And I'm excited for, I have here on the Embracing Layers Network front over the last 6 months have created a lot of new options. I've written online course. Laura was part of my beta group, you know, launch team on that and helping me just form the ideas around it. And now we've taken that and divided it into 3 different offerings with the good help of a friend, a PR branding friend, Dre Ginto here that I've met in Fresno. And also within those, I'm working one-on-one with women now. I'm offering empowerment sessions. And there's 3 different levels of that where they can work with me over time on applying this feel framework that I've created with some close friends and confidants over the years to their lives. And so I'm able to sit down with them one-on-one. I'm doing a lot more speaking. I love getting in front of groups of women and talking about this and sharing this. I got to facilitate a panel live last week in person at an event, which was so much fun. And so, but I've gone from transitioning this from a passion project to it's my work now. So I'm asking to get paid for these services. And I'm like always telling women all the time, ask for what you're worth, ask for what you're worth. And now I'm having to apply that to myself with my husband in my ear, ask for what you're worth, quit giving away everything for free. And so, yeah, in that transition time of learning to trust myself and also trusting that other women will trust me. And this has kind of been getting everything finalized with all the new stuff on the website. And I'm excited for what 2026 has to hold with all how the growth of that and that really taking off and kind of shifting from people seeing me as a podcaster and a panel host that has all these offerings to being like a founder and thought leader and author who's created these offerings, who also has a podcast and panel show. So also kind of some branding shifting there, but really, I think walking into my purpose. I think I'm fully like doing that for the first time, and I'm 56 years old. So you can walk into your purpose at any season, any age, any level. My husband mentioned retirement to me last night. I'm like, I understand why you are ready to retire. You have been in this business that you've been doing for 34 years now. I get it. I'm just finding my space. So I feel like I'm just entering that world. So that's the last thing that's on my mind. So it's interesting the different places we are with that and spaces and places. And he's all for it. He's like, hey, if yours takes off and can replace my income, go. Have a great time. I'm all for it. And I also couldn't do this without him. This has been a huge shift. It is not going back to the traditional workforce and bringing home a steady paycheck. There's been a huge investment financially on our side and continues to be as I work to build this. And so the importance, I think, thankful for my partner who's so willing to bet on me in this process of doing this. And I love the holidays. I'm one of those corny, annoying people. I do love the holidays. the day after Thanksgiving, all my Christmas stuff will go up. I will be playing Christmas music throughout everywhere, all over the house. And I celebrate Christmas through New Year's. I am one of those people. I celebrate it through New Year's. And so, we lost Yos now. She might have had to run, or she might have just gotten up. I'm not sure what happened there. All right. Isn't technology fun? Technology ghosts are so wonderful, especially when we do lives. It's like, it is what it is, people. Here we are.
Yeah.
And so, I think I'm excited for our holidays are weird this year. It is, my kids it's the year for them to be with the other side of the family. And so it's that's a new thing in my life. And the first time it happened 2 years ago, we spent it. Oh, there she's back. Okay. We spent it with my sister-in-law and her wife in their beautiful spot in the Monterey Peninsula here in California. And they got me through it like a champ. It was actually a really wonderful time. So we may do that again. Our youngest may be with us. She hasn't decided what she's doing. She was in Europe 2 years ago with her best friend for Christmas on her college break. So we'll see. So it'll look different this year. My husband also works in a university higher ed administration. And if our football team goes to a bowl game, that impacts us and you don't know what bowl game your team's going to go to until like after the first week in December, when all the playoff things have happened with conference championships and who's going to be in the playoffs versus who just is going to go to a bowl game somewhere. So holiday planning is always a little tricky for us because he doesn't know. And then at that point, he could have a bowl game on December 13th. He could have one on Christmas Eve. He could have one 2 days before Christmas. He could have one 2 days after Christmas. I mean, so it's kind of good that last year it worked out that he had one 2 days before Christmas, but they didn't need him at the last minute. There wasn't enough people that he would have had to take care of there that could go on such short notice. So he didn't have to go, thank God, because the kids had arrived and they were like, if Dad has to leave after we've all traveled in here, I'm like, I know. We can't control these things. So it's always a little bit, I think the difference this year is I probably go with them this year since we don't have, so we don't really know. I think we're going to go to North Carolina early in the month to be with one of our kiddos and her partner. They're hosting his family for Christmas. And she's like, you guys just come? They just got their own place together for the first time. She's like, well, why don't you come here in early December and we'll just do an early one. So I think we're going to do that so that it'll look different. So I've had to learn to be flexible with that because I couldn't have imagined, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, if you told me I was going to have Christmas without my kids, I was like, what? And also getting used to that and finding other ways to enjoy it and other family members and creating other traditions and experiences. So having an open heart to that too. So
yeah, you would die in my situation.
I know.
I deal with divorce, and everybody's got, all of our kids are married or have partners, so they have their family too. And it's just, we have gotten to the point. I got my heart let down so many times trying to get all the kids here for Thanksgiving that I finally just gave up asking. They get so much guilt from other people in their families that I didn't want to be another person giving them guilt.
Yeah.
So, my husband, that's why I'm flying on Thanksgiving, because that was the best fare. It's just sadly, in my life, even growing up, the day was always just a day. We always had family out of the state, out of town, so we would travel, and the day just didn't matter. But we are very accustomed to going to Cracker Barrel for dinner on Thanksgiving. My husband doesn't really like turkey. He can get his country fried steak, and I don't have to cook. Why cook for two people?
Exactly. Well, and we have done that some on Thanksgiving, and when Thanksgiving's been the off holiday the last few years. There's a Ruth's Chris here in town, which everybody knows for steak, but they do a really good turkey dinner because we're like, if we're going to treat ourselves. And then what we have learned to do is we get our food, but then we order an extra one. We take that one home for leftovers, and then we have leftovers the next day if we want the traditional leftovers. So yeah, I think it's sometimes being willing to be flexible. And I've, learning learning to find the joy. And I'm with you, Kira. Like, if I don't have to cook, you can cook for me. I got no problem with that.
Right?
No problem with that at all.
I'm a year older than you, and I have cooked enough.
Yeah. I know. Enough times with all those people. I know. No, I hear you. My husband actually is a great cook, so he does a lot of the cooking. He always cooks Thanksgiving turkey when we host. So I'm very lucky that way. He likes to do it, and he used to do it with his mom. And so that has been, we lost both his parents in 2023 within 5 months of each other. And so having traditions change and go away has been, interesting. Last Christmas, we had all of our kids, their partners, and my sister-in-law and her wife, his sister, and here with us. And it was the first time that group of us had been together since on a holiday since losing both of them. And it was good. We were able to there was traditions that have continued that they learned from them that they were able still to come together. And my sister-in-law looked at me the day after Christmas, I think it was. And we were sitting around doing a puzzle, and she just looked at me and tears in her eyes. She's like, "Thank you so much for including us." And it was just kind of I think a warming of our hearts that we can still go on and carry on these traditions and be together joyfully and remember them mindfully. I mean, my father-in-law's birthday is on Christmas Eve. So we will always toast Papa on Christmas Eve. Used to be the first half of the day would be his birthday. The second half of the day would be Christmas Eve. And so we will always come together and toast him on that day in our various ways, whether we're together or from afar. So yeah, I think it's just being that flexibility too, and being willing to be open to other ways to find joy. So rather than me being like, nobody's coming to my house this year, I'm like, you know what? I'm still decorating, because people will ask me, "Are you still going to get a tree?" I'm like, yes. I'm like, I am a fresh tree. Give me the smell. I want a live tree in my house. I am not a fake tree girl. Don't try to convince me. I've moved 12 times. So people are like, "Why don't you just get a fake tree?" I'm like, no. I'm from we like our trees. We like the smell of our trees. And I will continually for the rest of my life, much to my husband's chagrin. He would love it if we had something that we will go get a tree. So I will still do all the things, because I think that's something too. It's like, you can still feel joyful. You still do. It's the joy. It just looks different. It doesn't have to be, so being open to the possibilities within that. All right, ladies, thank you so much for being with me today. I'm going to allow you to share one last thought. All of these wonderful women and their resources will be in our show notes. So go to our show notes to check out how you can find and follow them, get their books, learn about their resources, work with them one-on-one. Laura's got great resources to offer help on that. All right, let's start with Kira. Last thought today for everybody listening.
It's perfect timing too, because my dog's getting ready to bark at me again, so he might be interjecting. 1 minute, dude. Hang on. Okay, as we are going into the holiday season, this is going to be my thought and my goal for people. So 1 year when we went out for Thanksgiving dinner, and this has stuck with me. These people, they work in restaurants, they work in the service industry, whatever, they get stuck working on the holidays. It's easy to look at this situation and just take it for granted. I don't do that anymore. I try not to. We went out to eat 1 year. There was a very large family there that was making a very large mess, and the waiter was doing everything he possibly could to keep up with them, to make them happy. We got there just as he was cleaning up the food off the floor, the mess off the table, and putting the $1 tip in his pocket. And I had asked him, I said, is that your tip? And he said, "Oh, it's fine." I said, "No, it's not." I'm like, "Is that seriously your tip?" And he just wouldn't own it. He's like, "It's fine." And so I didn't have a lot of cash on me. I never do. It's a digital age. I had a $10 bill. I'm like, "Please take it." And I had to fight with him to take the tip, but it's shameful. So I try to be the bigger person, especially around the holidays, to appreciate our service people.
Yes.
And Have a good day. Thank you for coming to work today, so I don't have to cook. But anyway,
Yeah. And leaving your family, missing your family gatherings and all the things that
yes.
may go with that. Yeah, people's stories. Thank you for that, Kira. I love that. My writer on my staff, Jessica, is I've got 3 people who help me. They're contract employees for me. I can't pay them full time, but so they all have other jobs. And Jess works in a restaurant and has had to work on Thanksgiving and has been in that position. And I'm always so mindful of her, and we always send lots of love to her. But thank you for that. Just be kind and be patient.
Yeah.
And take into consider they're people too. They're people too. They're not just there to serve you. They're actual humans with a story. Yes.
Seeing
thank you
their
so
own
much.
holidays. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Yasna, any last thoughts?
Well, it is not my holiday season because we don't
Yeah.
have Thanksgiving in November.
Yeah.
Our Christmas is on 7th of January because we follow Orthodox calendar.
Yeah, that's right.
So it will be the New Year's Eve is the first holiday for me, but I wish you all a lot of joy, a lot of nice time with your family and friends. Cook a little. Cooking is creative and joyful too.
Yeah. Yes. You and Laura totally agree on
I
that.
will cook at least for myself, if not for guests and family, and I will enjoy it. I will practice during my unemployed period after.
There you go. There you go. You embrace that. That's a great. You have such a wonderful
right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. I love that so much.
So
And
have a
thank
nice
you for-
time. Enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and thank you for bringing up I think we forget that around the world, of course, we know other countries don't have Thanksgiving, but even the way we celebrate these other holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, they can all look different in different places and spaces, and the dates aren't all the same. Like, not everybody's Christmas is December 25th. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And it's such a good reminder of the nuance of our stories and how we even do, how we honor and celebrate things. All right, Laura, how about you?
I just really everyone to have a beautiful, holiday season. What was popping into my head was what I try to do is us to all be present. And what I mean by that is, in our day and age, we all have our phones. And so, like we try to be present with the people that we're with as we're eating versus looking at our phones. So that's just kind of one thing that let's try to be present with who we're actually at the dinner table with. But honestly, always to enjoy your meal.
Yes.
And really enjoy your food and don't walk away from the table feeling guilty. Just enjoy it and, enjoy the people who grew our food and, just kind of be grateful in that sense.
Yeah. I love the presence and gratefulness. Put the phone away, have a conversation. And there's lots of different.
Do. I mean, my family, we do. I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
That's always been one stickler thing in my family is that my kids would be like, "Don't put that phone on that table." I'd be like,
swipe that thing up quicker than anything.
That's just kind of the family table is my sacred space.
Yes.
Really. So, but anywho,
that's a beautiful boundary that you've set and that you have executed and everyone's clear on. I love that so much. I think for me, if you're going into situations that might be challenging, a new way to think about it, and you can use my one pager is in the show notes. I use it a lot in my work that I do with women, whether it's one-on-one or in groups. But think about this. If you're trying to dodge difficult topics around the holiday table, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, wherever you're gathering, do this. Ask and introduce yourself by your character traits. See if you can learn something new about your family or friends. Share with them something and a character traits aren't your titles or roles. They are who you are as a person: energetic, vibrant, hopeful, tired. It's okay if you're tired. You can be tired that day. That could be a character trait that day. And invite them to do the same thing, and then ask them 5 activities that nourish them, and you tell them 5 activities that nourish you. And then share, this is a great one for New Year's, 5 words on how you want to feel the next 6 months, and share that with each other. That can really help you get to know people in a different way and in a different lens that you haven't heard before, and can create curiosity in conversations and maybe take away some of that strife we were talking about earlier, or tension or judgment. So that's my last thought for you in sharing that. Check out, again, you can go to that one page, or it'll be in the show notes if you want to grab that and utilize that around your family table or holiday party. It's a fun, different way of sharing about you and getting to know other people. Thanks so much for being with us today on this Come As You Are panel. Thank you to Kira and Yasna and Laura from joining me from literally throughout the world and sharing your wisdom and your time and your experiences with us. All these wonderful women's resources will be in our show notes. Take good care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week here on the Together We Feel panel show. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Thank you. Ciao.
Bye.